those three things hitting at once really just destroyed me, and I gained like 300 pounds.
Honestly, I've never read so many positive comments in my life. Like, this is just shocking. Like, you should see some of the comments I get.
To get back that life I used to have is what motivates me every day, and thinking about that.
Coach Greg, and I'm here with
Brentley G.
And we're going to answer all your questions. We had over 500 questions asked, and so we're going to go through as many as we can and give us our honest answers on this. And so first thing is, how do you feel today after training with me? How's the body?
Oh man, I am sore. I have been getting cramps in my thighs, but it's been great. I feel like I feel a lot of it in my triceps. Like, we did a lot of tricep.
Yeah, that
work.
tricep press down, you were loving that one.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite exercise that we did out of the day?
I really enjoyed when you gave me additional pointers in the one that I was already doing. And it was a really, like...
The lat pull down one?
Yeah, the lat pull down.
Right.
And I also found it, like, a really good, like, experience to, like, have you show me how to do the bench press, like, properly. And, like, I've always seen people doing bench presses, but I never actually done one. So I really...
Yeah, so stay tuned for that video. You can obviously go watch that. He had great form on the bench press. We weren't going very heavy, and in the squats, he's most sore in the legs because he weighs 494-ish, I think he said.
Yes, 494.
I'm 190. I was actually 188.8 this morning. I was saying I was pretty dehydrated. I did a big bike race. And so he weighs 300 pounds more than me. So when I go down to do a squat, it's the same thing like he doing a squat with over 300 pounds on his back. And he's doing like 15 reps. So imagine you walk in the gym, you're not really used to it, and you squat 300 and something pounds. This is how it feels for him. So his legs getting tired. So we didn't try to train too hard. You know, we just eased into it. And we just had breakfast. Had a coffee, and so let's get right into it. People want to hear more about your motivation to get in shape. Like, what is motivating you? The word motivation, it's all over the place. You guys, you want to get motivated. You want Bradley to motivate you. And so what is motivating your ass to get in the gym and lose this weight once and for all?
I think what motivates me is the idea that someday I'm going to be living the best life that I possibly can. For a long time, I was living just sitting alone in my apartment and just staring at a screen all day, and that's not the life I want to live. And that desire to go out and have friends and have lovers and go to parties and go kayaking. I've mentioned kayaking before in my videos. To get back that life I used to have is what motivates me every day, and thinking about that.
And he mentioned this to me about the laptop, and the first thing I thought of was the dopamine that you get from scrolling. It could be, whether it's your laptop for you, maybe it's swiping left, swiping right, or maybe it's porn, whatever it is. You got to get out of that and enjoy the things that are presenting to us in the real world. Friends, family, just going for a walk in the park. Stop living your life looking at a screen.
Yeah, screens are definitely addictive. It's like a drug. It's all you want to do. It's all you can think about when you're just living your life like that. It really controlled my life for a long time, and I've been gone from the laptop for 37 days, and I'm not looking back. I'm having a really fun time being away from it.
It's great. And so for me, I was a phys ed teacher, and so my goal was to get the kids to like phys ed and sports movement the way I do. And it's the same thing I'm doing on my channel. And so what I want is for Brentley to like physical activity as much as I do. The first thing he does, he comes to my house and I'm racing on Zwift.
Oh man. And he was like really good too. He was going like hardcore, like the fastest I've ever seen anyone ride one of those stationary bikes. It was crazy. It was incredible.
So you watch me, I did the sprint. I ended up winning the race. I wanted to quit it. I said, I can't do it. And I looked up and I can do it. And then I raced and I won the race. It was just a fantastic feeling. And so imagine how excited I am, the dopamine rush. And so when he goes to the gym, I want him to lift the weights and I want him to do cardio and feel that same rush that I feel, because it's addictive. As addictive or more so than the laptop. And if you can do that, you're not going to stop and you're going to lose that weight. All right, this is a great question. And so far, how much better has life gotten since you started your weight loss journey? And so those of you know, he was 570 pounds at his heaviest and under 500 now. So he's already lost 75 pounds. How much better do you feel now? If you haven't watched the video, just like listen to some of the stuff you've been able to do in comparison.
It is infinitely better. Before I started losing weight, I was 570 pounds, and I couldn't even make it up the stairs without having to take a break. Like, I would get to the top of the stairs and I would instantly have to sit down at my kitchen table before I could even get the food out of the fridge, which was the only real reason I was going up the stairs. And to be able to go, like, my childhood best friend comes into town twice a year. He moved away a little while ago. But one time when I was 570 pounds, we went to Hopewell Rocks, and I couldn't make it all the way from the parking lot to the rocks, and we had to keep stopping so I could lean on trees. But now I'm walking all the way around my neighborhood. I can walk clear across my town, and it's really great to be able to, people take for granted the ability to walk, but I'm definitely not, because having lost it and having regained it, it's really the best feeling.
Now, something I noticed, for example, I have a Mercedes AMG. It's a sports car, and he was able to get into it, and I wasn't sure. I was like, well, he is pretty big, and I feel like I'm jammed in. I'm only 200 pounds. And so could you have fit into that car at 570? Would you have been able to do it?
Almost certainly not. I remember, like, having to get into small cars when I was 570, and I would have to contort myself and be like as small as I could, and I couldn't for the life of me get any seatbelt buckled. There are these things they have called seatbelt extenders, which I didn't know they had for cars. I knew they had them for planes, but once I got fat, I needed one.
Also, we went to O2 Wellness, and it's up 2 steep flights of stairs, and I'd done a bike race, so I'm climbing up, and I'm like, my legs are burning. I'm looking back, and he's right behind me. Because I was thinking, well, geez, if my legs are burning, I'm freaking fit. And he's able to keep up. But at
570-pound me would gotten up the first flight of stairs and then would have needed to take like a 5-minute break, and then I could go up the rest of the stairs, and then I would need to sit down at the top before we started working out.
Yeah, and even in the workout, some of the equipment, he's so big. And that's short. He's so tall. He's like a freaking giant. We're sitting in and went to do the shoulder press machine. And I put the seat to the bottom, and the shoulder press is into his chest. He's literally this big. I'm up here, and I'm like doing the shoulder press, and he sits in, and he can't do it. And so some of the equipment, when you're this size, you can't even use. So there must be such immense motivation to lose weight, just to be able to do what normal guys like me and you perhaps take for granted.
Yeah. Like kayaking, like I've talked about kayaking a lot. Like when you're heavy like me, it makes the kayak top heavy. So if I get in a kayak, it pretty much falls right over now. But I used to love kayaking as a teenager. I went like all over the lakes when I was a teenager.
And I just want people to understand, like we've spoken for hours, and so describe to people, like in high school, he wasn't 300, 400, 500 pounds. Explain the difference that happened from then up till now.
At the beginning of high school, at the beginning of senior year, I was 6'4" and 175 pounds, and I looked really good. And as the year went on, I ended up being 200, a little over 200, and then I graduated. And that's kind of when my mother cut me loose. She was pretty strict about dieting and stuff. She was really into, weight loss and didn't want me to be fat like she was when she was a kid. So the moment she cut me loose, of course, I went right overboard, and I ended up ballooning up to 570 pounds.
And essentially in high school, he was literally starving himself. He went over the foods. I was like, man, that's all you could eat. So he has a very slow metabolism. And we're actually talking about this today. Obesity has been defined as a disease. And I personally think that, of course, it should be. It's just because you can do something about it. Like clearly, if I held him into a room and pinned him down and didn't let him eat, he's eventually going to lose weight. But doesn't mean it's still not a disease. Disease is something that the body's kind of done to make it harder to lose weight. He would have more fat cells than me, more ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, and so his body wants him to eat. And so as a teenager struggling to stay under 200 pounds, he's being told eat. His body says eat all the time. If I ate as much as I want, force feed, pay me $1 billion, I couldn't get to 500 pounds even if I tried. But for him, it's hard to stay under that weight because his set point is to be a lot higher than the average person. And so he definitely struggles to lose weight. And so that's why it's that much more important for him to do cardio, to exercise, to lift weights, as well as to eat low-calorie dense foods, because we all know, after all, it is calories in, calories out. I'd love to hear more about your dieting and how you stay so positive. So maybe explain, what is your diet like right now, and how do you keep yourself positive? Like I was asking in detail about what do you do when your weight's down, when your weight's up, like you're weighing yourself on a regular basis, like how many calories you're eating, those kind of questions. And how do you stay positive? Like, are you always positive? You have good days, bad days? Like, Describe to the people what it's like to diet in your shoes.
I stay positive by just keeping a very loose vibe on my diet. I try to stay under 3,000 calories a day. My daily energy expenditure is 4,200, so as long as I eat less than that, I will still lose weight. But
And let me just interrupt. 3,500 calories for 1 pound. So if he's eating even 1,000 calorie deficit a day, that's 2 pounds of fat a week. And so even if you blow it and say you eat 4,000, you're still in a deficit. So even if you have a bad day, so I don't know if that would help being positive or not, but
yeah, I try not to, be too strict about it. If I do go over, I just be like, oh, Brent, you messed up, but it's no big deal because you're going to do better tomorrow. And, you got days after days until you die. And, why you got to be, perfect? There's no reason.
right. And so even if he doesn't do his, he's trying to eat 3,000 calories. I eat 3,500, so I eat more than him. But even if he eats, say he has a bad day and ends up eating 4,000, is that a big deal? I say no. Like if you're that hungry and you need the 4,000 calories, I say go for it. Because it's not about losing weight every single day. You don't have to get up on the scale and lose weight every day. Every week, not even. But every 3-4 weeks, there should be a trend, kind of like the stock market. It's not going to go up every single day. You invest your money. Some days are good, some days are bad. But in general, you kind of want it to, over the course of the year, to go in the right direction. And so as long as every single month you're kind of going down, the 495 becomes 485, and eventually it's 385. And may as well go to another question. I'm going to scroll. I've memorized it. They want to know, what are your weight loss goals? Like, what do you want to see in the end?
I don't have a direct set weight. I'm aiming for 220 to 250, but as time goes on, that may not be as realistic as it seems, but that is currently my goal. But the main goal is really just to get healthier, get hot, and get to a place where I am physically fit enough to do the activities that I love.
And so if you watch my channel, I always say halfway there. And so he's 500 pounds essentially, wants to get to below 250. Halfway to that would be half of 250, 125 pounds. So if he can get to 375, I would, you imagine the difference that would feel?
Yeah.
You'd be night and day better. And then when you get there, which it should be easy, he shouldn't even, I was telling him, you shouldn't even feel like he's on a diet. It should be easy. You're eating lower calorie meals from the cookbook, your exercise. The weight just slowly comes off. Then when you get there, reevaluate and say, is this hard? Am I struggling? Because if it is, it's better to just maintain that weight, because we were discussing that 600-pound Biggest Loser. What's the show where they lose all the weight in a race?
Oh, Biggest Loser.
Biggest Loser. And we looked and it said something like 96% of the contestants on that show gained all the weight back. And so, we're saying 95% of diets fail. I don't want the diet to fail. And so although his goal is 250, which is an amazing goal, I don't want to see it as I failed if I get to 350, 375, 400. Any amount of weight that he loses is a success. So whether he loses 100 or 200, it's still weight loss. It's still going to make him healthier and live longer. And so be proud of the achievements that you make. And then when you get down to a certain weight, just reevaluate and decide if you can do it. And if you can't, you just main gain from there. This is interesting. It's a different question. I'd be interested to see what his grocery bills came to before and what it currently is. So how much were you spending on groceries, and has it gone up or down? Because diets are notorious to being more expensive, like vegetables and fruit, sometimes more expensive, chips and stuff, maybe more cheap. Like, do you have any idea what you would have spent in a week or a month or a day? And in comparison to now, it's about the same. Like, people want to know, how much money are you spending on food?
My old lifestyle was definitely by far more expensive. You see, I worked in a restaurant that was attached to a gas station when I was getting fat, so every day after work I'd be like, I had a rough day, so I'm going to go get 2-3 bags of chips, 2 packs of Oreos, a case of soda, and I'd have it gone and by tomorrow. And then if I'm doing that every day, that's like $30 every single day. But now I can buy go to a grocery store and I can get just some bananas, some bread, and maybe some canned ham, some eggs, and that'll last me a week, maybe 2 weeks. So right now it's like $60 every 2 weeks as compared to like 300 or 400 every 2 weeks.
It sounds like perhaps you were an emotional eater. Would that describe you? Because you were lighter and then all of a sudden you gained weight. And I know you mentioned your mother had passed away and it caused some weight gain. Would that have been a big influence in your weight gain?
I went through a really tough period in my life where I lost this really stable job that I had, my mother died, and a lot of my friends stopped talking to me, and those three things hitting at once really just destroyed me, and I gained like 300 pounds. Like, I was around 300, like 250 to 300 for a long time, and then when all that happened, I gained all that weight in just 6 months.
I want to bring up how he became popular on social media. He showed me a video. He basically had made a video and it went viral, and he was basically saying, hey, me and my friend, we're looking for more friends to hang out. We want a better crew. And described how that all happened, and it was in New Brunswick and went viral. Like, how did that all go down?
So me and my best friend Jeffrey, we were just hanging out one day, and we were like, hey, we should try to make our friend group bigger. It was after a lot of our friends stopped talking to us, so I just decided to make a video, like advertising for people in the area. So I pulled out my phone, and we just record through the day, us going through, like, us standing down at the beach, us coming out of the gas station, and then us watching a movie together. Those are three things that we do a lot. And then people started really enjoying it, and it got a little bit popular until this guy on Twitter said something really mean about how, like, pathetic we are, that we're begging for friends on the internet, and then everybody latched onto him, like attacking him and like defending us, and it was this really beautiful display of people being really nice and supportive, and from then it all sort of spiraled out and it got really popular, and a ton of people actually ended up coming to meet me at a park. Which park was it? Centennial Park in Moncton. There was a whole bunch of people. Yeah, it was really nice because all these people showed up, and then from that I found like 7 people that I really meshed with really good, and we started texting and we hung out a little bit, and yeah, it was a really fun time.
And so I know a lot of people think, he's morbidly obese, he's in dangerous health, and that maybe people are making fun of him. But here this guy tried to make fun. He basically like beat a pain in the ass and just putting him down. But everyone came to help him. And so overall, I would say your experiences is quite positive, like more so than probably the average person.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably one of the luckiest people on earth. I've had multiple viral videos. I've had insanely good friends through my life. I've been like in all sorts of amazing situations. I grew up next to a lake, I love lakes, and man, I've just been living a great life.
And I mean, I'm looking at his videos. So he's got some videos that are more viral than my most popular videos. He's doing the dangle and being able to walk up the stairs and just look what I've done. And I'm reading comments. 100,000 comments on one post, and it's all positive. It's just like, congratulations, keep it up. And so the motivation that this guy gets and the positivity, it's mind blowing. Like normal, you're probably thinking, oh, people probably bashing him and putting him down. It's the opposite. I'm telling you, it's the opposite. This guy is so positive. There's so many people cheering for him, and so definitely wish you the best. Honestly, I'm reading. I've never read so many positive comments in my life. Like, this is just shocking. Like, you should see some of the comments I get. It's like a lot more negative than this guy, that's for sure.
Next time on Coach Greg.
Keep in mind that every day you should be walking towards the ideal person that you want to be.
A lot of my friends are, why don't you just retire? Like, why are you doing all this? Because I like it.
Just because you failed doesn't mean it's over. If you fall down while you're running, you can still crawl.